This is just practice. Hey everyone, my name is Sarah, and this video is basically me. I need to mute my phone. But basically me being in the heartbreak stage, and I wanted to talk about some advice that John gave me, my nail tech, and okay, I just need to mute my phone. Hang on. Yeah, usually my phone's dry AF, so I didn't think I'd have to mute it. Sorry if I seem very melancholy and reserved and quiet and whatnot. It just, you know, hasn't been the best since everything happened, and I've been kind of down, and I thought that YouTube could help be an outlet for just speaking everything I'm feeling. Sometimes I journal, but this is kind of, I guess, like a video journal. So the reason why I'm putting it on the internet is hopefully other people can relate and it can encourage them with whatever they're going through, and maybe John's advice can help you guys too. But quick side note, I wanted to take the video like sooner so the information was still in my mind, but also so I could show my nails before I have to get them filled. This was, okay, if we'll focus. This is my first time doing actually colored nails. Like, I know I'm really late to getting nails done and everything, but before this I'd only had like the white French tips, so I really love these. John did great, and the colors just kind of like holographic. The kids I work with at a preschool I work at were pretty obsessed with them and thought they were cool. But they were also like, why are your nails so long? And I was like, these really aren't that long. But anyway, off topic. I guess I'll just give some quick background information so there's a little bit of context for what my conversation was with John. So basically, I was with my ex-boyfriend. We met when I was 21 and started dating after a few months. We were together for about half a year, and then we broke up. And it was really tough when we broke up. That was my basically first real relationship, and there are just like lots of feelings, and definitely we were both heartbroken when we did break up, but it was mutual. It was tough, but like it was on really good terms, but we just didn't really talk after that. Like, I feel like it's impossible to be just friends with your ex, so that wasn't really an option. And we didn't block each other or anything, but we did take each other off of like Instagram, Snapchat, and eventually deleted each other's numbers too. So fast forward, I actually took a gap year from school right before my senior year of college, and then I came back to school for my senior year just this past August 2019. So, you know, through the breakup I grew a lot. Like, I've already been very confident and independent as a person, but even after that, like, it just really had me grow more. So that was a good experience. I guess through every breakup, and you make it out okay, there's like a type of resilience, and yeah, people just grow from that and get stronger. So sorry. I'm gonna try not to get emotional. Like, I am definitely a lot less emotional than I was even just a few days ago, but it's still tough. So I'm back at school, and it's so great to be with my friends again. Like, working full-time during my gap year was because so I could save up money and not have to take out loans. So it was tough being away from everyone, but definitely worth it. So anyway, I come back to school. Really great to be back into the swing of things. And then about a month into me starting my semester, I get a text message from a number, which was his area code, and it was just like, hey, I really owe you coffee or lunch. I hope your semester's going well. Let's catch up sometime. So I didn't even think that was my ex. Like, literally I was like, is this like someone I gave my number to on Bumble or something, like, since I have been on the dating apps. And I was just really confused, and I was just like, sorry, who is this? Like, I was thinking, who owes me lunch? I get a text back and he said that it was him. He had to change his number, and I didn't know at the time if that was true or not, because like I deleted his number, so I didn't know. So I was kind of like freaking out, and I ran to my roommate's room, who's also one of my really close friends, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's him. I guess I'll just respond in a little bit. It really took me off guard. So I tried to play it cool and chill, and I was just like, hey, yeah, I don't have a car on campus, but I will be visiting for Thanksgiving break, so maybe then, or like I'll just hit you up then. So he was like, yeah, sounds good. So of course, like then he was like in my mind a lot more, because I'm thinking like, oh, is he gonna try to get back together? Is something going to happen from this? Since we didn't text all the time, but then just like a little bit we were like joke texting and sending gifts. I don't know, it was just playful. Like it wasn't very often, but just he was really nice, and definitely like using way more emojis than usual. So anyway, I reached back out when it was like a couple weeks before I go back for Thanksgiving break, and we were just like, hey, are we still on to get together? And then we hung out, and there was definitely still chemistry. And long story short, we kind of got back together without the title, and it was tough since we were doing everything that was like in a relationship. Like it felt like exactly like we were dating again. Like we were even talking every night too, and texting all day. And even though he's got like his big boy job and working full-time, I was working a seasonal position over break, but we were still like talking a lot and hanging out. Like I was even hanging out with his family again, and it just really felt like old times. So so we were in touch, but at the end of my break, like I just came back here. It's beginning of 2020. Just a few days ago, he kind of said that, you know, we fell back into it being like a relationship, but then it was just headed toward like why we broke up initially. But I don't want to like dwell on like the reason why we broke up too much. So basically that was like how the breakup happened, and that was like, he sent me that text message, and I was kind of pissed that it was a text message, since I like just headed back to school, and he was planning on visiting me. Like literally tonight would have been the day that he was gonna visit. So I guess that's kind of why like I'm like emo right now. And I mean, obviously you can't see it on the screen, but it's even tougher when I'm like all alone and like my roommates aren't back yet. So yeah, anyway, this is the weekend that he was gonna get together and visit, and you know, he just broke things off. I just wish he could have said it in person or even called me, but it just seemed like really selfish and even cowardly just texting that, because I feel like if he were to say it to my face, it just would have like been harder for him, or he would have felt guilty. I don't know, something like that. So I just thought that that was kind of like a dick move. At least it's like, obviously I'm not as fragile as I was the first breakup, since like that was when we were actually together. Right now it's just like kind of like we got back together, kind of like a, I don't know, Christmas break fling, I don't know. But still it hurts because he brought all of those feelings back, and it was tough since I really missed him. Yeah, I don't even know if we're like on good terms anymore, since it was just tough getting that text and like not talking things out. Like the first breakup, we talked for like 2 hours in his car, and there's just like really good closure, and we were like, yeah, we can reach out to each other whenever, since he's really good with cars. And so like I would ask him about cars if I ever needed to know anything, or like credit cards, credit scores. He just knows a lot about that stuff, and I don't really. So okay, so that's everything about my breakup. Now I'm like 12 minutes into this video and I really didn't mean to talk about it that long, but that's really all of the history without all of the tiny details. But so anyway, I got that text message like just this past Sunday, and then I saw John, my nail tech, at the mall Monday, so it was just the day after. And not to brag or anything, but I'm one of John's favorite customers. He's the one who owns the nail salon, so he doesn't usually take appointments, but I'll always call in to see if he's working. And yeah, he's super sweet, and we always talk a lot like about our families, about life, and I really don't even go that often. It was just, I think, my third time going, but when I do go, it's like we just always have really good conversations. He's like just the best guy. He's like, yeah, like since I worked at the same mall for the seasonal position, he was like, yeah, when you get off of work, you can always come here, even if we're technically closed, like you can come after hours. And he always gives me like a really big discount. And yeah, okay, I'm just, yeah, flexing that he's like super nice and I have the best nail tech. Okay, but anyway, so I was there like a couple weeks before, and I got my French tips filled by his daughter actually, since John wasn't in that day. I wanted to see John, you know, before I go back to school, because it's not going to be super often that I visit back home in Maryland. So I asked if John was working, and I think John was the one who picked up the phone, so yeah, he was there. And I went in, and originally it was just going to be a fill for my French tips, but then like I showed my nails earlier, I ended up getting like the coffin colored gel nails, and yeah, I love them. But he was like, oh no, like I can't let you go back with these, like they're not gonna hold up. Like I think it might have been like my third fill or something, second or third fill, and maybe I'm kind of rough with my nails, I don't know. But yeah, John did me right with these ones. And when we were talking, I was saying that one of my friends was visiting from California, my friend Micah. And I was like, yeah, hopefully I can get together with him before he heads back, since he's just visiting for like the weekend, and I don't usually get to see him too often since he rarely visits the East Coast. So John was like, oh, is that your boyfriend? And I was like, Micah, like, oh no, like we're just friends. He's been one of my best friends since high school. We're definitely like very different. He's like way more wild than me, but super funny guy. And like Micah, Connor, Hope, and I, like we were all really tight in high school. But yeah, now Micah's living it up in LA, and he's like a really successful DJ. Okay, anyway, I'm like going on tangents, but yeah, so Micah. So I was like, no, John, he's not my boyfriend. He's really just a friend. And I guess I just included, I was like, no, like since it was just so fresh, like literally my ex and I, we kind of had that like mini breakup, or just like ended things for real that previous day. So then I told John, yeah, actually I just kind of got out of a relationship. And I can't remember if I said it's been tough or not, but like maybe John could hear it in my voice that I was just like a little more sad. But then I don't know if John started saying this necessarily because of the breakup, or oh, actually it was kind of a combination. Maybe because of me mentioning that, but also we were talking about youthfulness. Dang, okay, I need to hurry this video up or crop out a lot. It's already almost at 17 minutes. I'm sorry. Okay, hopefully YouTube lets me upload all of this. I don't know if there's a limit or whatever. Yeah, so we were talking about youthfulness, and because there was a girl next to John who also worked at the salon. I think she was just like waiting to go on her break, so she was just like chatting with us a little bit. John has 3 daughters, and I come from a family of 3 girls, and I'm the oldest. And I was like, yeah. I was just reminding him of our ages, because he was like, oh yeah, you're the middle, right? And I was like, no, I'm the oldest. We're 23, 21, and 20. And then the girl next to him, she was like, what, you're 23? And I was like, yeah, I know I look like a baby. Like I usually get 20, 21, just, you know, younger. And she's like, yeah, like I definitely thought you were more around that age. Then John and I were just saying how like girls these days, or kids in general, they just seem a lot older. Like high schoolers, I feel like look like my age, or could pass as like college or something. And we were just saying that could be like a mixture because of hormones and foods. And then the girl was also chiming in saying that it's probably because like girls know how to do their makeup more too, or just like are trying to look older. And yeah, like if you're trying to look older, you're going to look older, like by how you dress, do your hair, do your makeup, all that stuff. I was telling John when I was 14, like I definitely looked like a baby. Like I think even when I was 12, I was wearing like lots of skirts, maybe even a skirt. Okay, maybe that was a little younger, but I remember I went to this baseball game and I was wearing like a turquoise, a light neon turquoise looking skirt and like a Powerpuff Girls shirt. Yeah, so I feel it's not fair that kids aren't going through the ugly phase. Like literally I went through the ugly phase like most of my life. So not really fair, but whatever. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Okay, but getting back to that youthfulness conversation with John, he was also saying that I look like such a baby or have a baby face because of the experiences in my life, or just like that I'm a positive person, I think he was trying to get at. Usually it's pretty easy to follow John most of the time. He was apologizing because English is his second language, but I was telling him no, like he speaks great English. He's Vietnamese. But he was like, yeah, sorry, sometimes it's hard for me to talk about like different deep issues because English is my second language, but it was still definitely understandable. But anyway, I'm going to draw a picture because John was using kind of like an illustration or an example of the pattern, or from the pattern in the cracks of the table that we were working at for my nails. Okay, so just give me a second, I'm just gonna draw it out. Okay, so this is the best I can do, but basically the table, it was kind of like this marble table, but then like under the glass there are these cool cracks on the inside, and they're supposed to be there. It's not like it was actually cracked. Some of the cracks were very deep and bold, like those ones. And then what John was saying was like, you see this crack here, like this line, like this is a very bold line. I talk about my family a lot, so he knows that I'm very family oriented and close with my family and just spend a lot of time with them. So he's like, see this is like your loving parents. Like Sarah's going to know about them and think of them in her mind like all her life. And then he said, and then this other line, those are like Sarah's friends, close friends and sisters and like other family. And then there were those smaller lines, smaller cracks in the table, and he's like, these little lines, like see that little line, that could be John. And like Sarah has positive memories of John, but also that line could eventually fade away, which made me a little sad. But like I know he's being realistic, like, you know, I don't know if I'm gonna be in touch with John for like 20 years or something. Like I see him mainly when I get my nails done. Then he was saying how these little lines, they can be positive or negative. And then once you think about them more, they get deeper and darker and bolder, like the family lines and those things that you just focus on. So he was saying basically this is kind of like your mind, right? So he was saying like that boy, like my ex, probably was like maybe a medium-sized line, like something that was starting to grow more in my mind and become bolder because it was more part of my life. If through the breakup and everything and just like not being in touch anymore, if I get bitter and upset, like it's going to turn into a dark bold line, but it's not going to be a positive one. It's going to be something that I dwell on and then gives me negative energies and bad feelings, and I can't think of more good adjectives, but you kind of get what I'm saying. John's advice was like those negative things, like you don't want to hold on to them. Just let those lines go. Just let it go. And he wasn't necessarily, like I said, talking about the breakup. He was just saying negative things also kind of in general, but it was really encouraging. Like, I don't want to dwell on the stuff that's hurt me. And my video's about to stop recording. But yeah. Okay, I'm back. I just ran out of memory because, or not memory, but I think I can only go up to like 25 minutes. Okay, but I'm back. And yeah, that was basically what John was saying. Those little lines, they can be good or bad, and you just don't want to dwell on the bad ones. And as simple as that message sounds, it just really spoke to me, and I don't want to hold on to the bad stuff and like the stuff that hurt me. Like, I want to be able to forgive, and it's really hard since I really cared about my ex, and I wouldn't say like I loved him again. Maybe I was close to it. It probably would have taken more time, but there are still really true feelings, and it's just a tough process, you know, going through that. I guess that's really all I have to say. I, you know, just had time to talk, and I have a really great support system from my friends, and I've already told like my very best friends everything that's happened, and they've been just like such a light in my life, and so great. But I thought maybe just like, again, this outlet would also be helpful. And I'm starting a new YouTube channel. Like, my other one I wasn't famous or anything at all. I had literally like 25 subscribers, but just since some of those people I knew were on there, I just wanted to start out kind of like anonymous, I guess. Just, you know, clean slate, don't know anyone. If someone happens to search this and hopefully it relates to them, then great. But if not, I just didn't want to like throw it at my friends. I really hope that someone can benefit from some of this information. Even if one person does, that's great. So I wish you guys the best. If you're here because you're going through heartbreak or a breakup, or just wanted to know the advice that my nail tech John gave me, I'm glad that you made it to the end, or even clicked through, whatever. Just thanks for coming. Yeah, I don't really know how to end this besides saying thanks, and I hope that you're okay. It'll be okay eventually. Okay, well, I think that's everything. Okay, bye.